When I was a small child, probably up until the time of first grade or so, I was extremely afraid of the dark. And we had to have I had to have a night light on in order to sleep at night. My brother Mike and I shared the room, and so Mike was not as afraid of the dark, and he complained about the light. So we had to compromise. So there was a bathroom right across from our room, and so the nightlight was put in there, and then we would argue over how far our bedroom door could open. And I was so afraid that before I would go to bed, I would check the closet, I would look underneath the bed, I would even open all the drawers all the drawers in our chest, just to make sure that everything was safe. And it wasn't good enough that mom or dad or someone else checked. I had to see for myself to make sure everything was okay in order for me to sleep. Like I said, I eventually outgrew that fear and that anxiety. But as we all know, as we get older, those so-called monsters, some of them are no longer imaginary. Sometimes those fears and worries become quite real. Worries about the future, worries about parents worrying constantly about their children. As my parents always remind me that no matter how old you get, you're always going to be our child, and it's our job to worry about you. We worry about health. We can worry about finances. There's so much things that can consume us and consume our mind and consume our time. And I think about Joseph, what he was going through the night before, as he went to bed before he had this dream. All that he wrestled with, all those thoughts going through his head as he was trying to make this decision of what to do when he found out that Mary was pregnant with a child that he knew was not his. And he also knew the law, that he wasn't to marry her. And if someone in her position was caught, then they were to be stoned to death. That was how things were done in that time. And so you can imagine what's going through his mind as this is a person that he knows and loves, and he's wrestling with what to do, and all that anxiety and that tension that he had to experience. And then to have a dream, I always find it interesting, and I don't know the answer to this, but Mary has an angel actually appear to her to announce the coming of the Messiah. Joseph has a dream. I think it would be harder to hear God's voice in a dream. Like if you had an angel appear to you exactly, you're going to know it's real, right? But in a dream, just an example. I had a weird dream the other night about cookies that were made with maple syrup, bacon, and white chocolate. I have no idea what that means. So, interpreting dreams can be hard and difficult, and yet Joseph has this clear dream of this angel coming to him, telling him the situation. And Joseph's yes is just as important as Mary's yes. Sometimes I think we forget that, but for Joseph to say yes, it allowed for the scriptures to be fulfilled, that the line of David, that this Messiah would come through the line of David, which Joseph was part of that house. And he's able in some way to push aside all his fears and his anxieties about the future, about what's going to happen, and saying yes to God. And when he does, he opens his heart up for the coming of the Messiah. But it's those words that I'm sure that allowed him to do that. Those words, God is with us, because that's what the birth of the Messiah, the coming of the Messiah is. God is with us. And when God is with us, no fear, no anxiety, no worry can ever consume us. If we can open our hearts up to God, as that psalm says, and make our hearts the place where the King of Glory reigns, then there's nothing in this world that can ever defeat us, consume us, or destroy us, because God is with us. And that's the love that he has for us. And that's why that fourth candle that we light today reminds us of the love that God has for us. All four of those candles burn brighter today because of the Messiah that's coming into the world. It dispels the darkness that surrounds us. It can dispel whatever it is that consumes us. But it's God's love for us that comes to us and gives us that hope, fills us with His peace, brings us His joy, but above all, brings the love that He has for you and I today. And so that is truly something to celebrate and something to gather in as we continue our prayer this day and in continuing the waiting, the coming of our Messiah.